Welcome back to Late Edition. I'm Wolf Blitzer in Washington. We're talking with the House Minority Whip Roy Blunt of Missouri and the chairman of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, Chris Van Hollen of Maryland. And we're talking about the economy, what the House of Representatives right now could do to help a lot of ailing Americans out there. In our latest CNN Opinion Research Corporation poll, we asked whether the tax rebate policy, the stimulus package that was quickly approved by the president and Congress, the checks that are going out right now to millions of Americans, is enough. 13% says that policy does enough. 3% says it does too much. 82% though, 82% of the American people say it's not enough. They want more. What else do you want to do?
Well, the single big issue out there is gas prices right now. We need to do something about gas prices.
Like, what do you want to do?
Well, what I'd like to do is see us do something about both the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, filling that.
Stop filling it?
I think we should stop filling it. The White House doesn't agree with that position, but that's one thing would have impact at the pump
because it would increase supply and presumably reduce price.
And there are really three things the federal government can do to have gas impact right now. One is the SPRO. Two is either some kind of a gas tax rebate or a gas tax holiday. We're proposing that be funded with whatever money would have been spent on congressional earmarks this year, that money goes into Highway Trust Fund to replace that. And three is the effort that the Treasury Department's now making to stabilize the dollar. A lot of the speculation in oil, the decline of the dollar, those things have an impact on gas prices. That's the biggest single thing Americans care about. We've been asking the majority for 3 weeks now to bring some legislation to the floor that would do something about gas prices. 2 years ago, April 2006, Nancy Pelosi said, if the Democrats are given the majority control in the Congress, we have a common sense plan to do something about gas prices.
You're the majority, you're the leadership, go ahead.
And that's $1.35 ago. $1.35.
We do have a common sense plan, and first of all, we agree with Roy with respect to the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. That's exactly what we should do. The president's been blocking that, but we laid out a very clear tact early on with legislation that says we need to reduce our reliance on oil and gas going forward.
But that's a long-term solution. Right now we're talking about what can be done immediately to help those Americans who are in trouble.
Absolutely, and one is the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Another thing we can do, and we have done, is finally give the FTC the ability to enforce price manipulation in the oil and gas market. They've been sitting on their hands. They've not been moving. We've also got legislation. Our Republican colleagues will have an opportunity to vote on it, dealing with OPEC, finally being able to deal with OPEC price manipulation as a cartel from a legal perspective. So there are a couple things we can do right now. But the long term.
What about eliminating the federal gas tax between Memorial Day and Labor Day? That's Hillary Clinton says it's a good idea. John McCain says it's a good idea. They disagree on how to fund that $10 or $12 billion, whatever it might cost. But Barack Obama says it's a stupid idea.
Right. We in the House don't think that that's a good idea. It's too short-termy. It's a gimmick type of approach. And the problem is it would mean that funds that right now go into the transportation program to help build bridges, infrastructure, roads would be reduced. This is a time we need to be increasing our investment in our national infrastructure. It's long overdue, and it would also help boost the economy. We also think we should get rid of the subsidies for the oil and gas industry.
Go ahead and respond.
Well, everything we come up with and the country comes up with is either too short-term for the majority or too long-term for the majority. We need a short-term fix right now. We need the long-term things we need to do to encourage a shift in where that petroleum comes from. You know, Jay Leno said, I think one night last week, that House Democrats said drilling in the Anwar wouldn't produce any fuel for 10 years. Then he paused and he said, which is exactly what they said 10 years ago. You know, we need some long-term things going on, but we also need some short-term relief right now. A gas tax holiday, replaced with money that otherwise would have gone into congressional earmarks, a bill that I co-sponsored last week with Paul Ryan and John Boehner and others, would do that. Those two things would have impact this summer.
It's the Democrats who on the first day of the new Congress finally adopted reforms to the earmark policy, making this transparent and accountable. We're more than willing to explore ways to pay for this.
Viewers who may not know, the earmarks are what's called these pork barrel spending, money specifically designed to help one particular group or area.
That's right. But with respect to the long term, there are millions of acres of federal land that are open to leasing right now where the oil companies are not drilling for gas. And in terms of the long term, we have said that we should eliminate the subsidies and taxpayer giveaways for the oil and gas
industry. That's a new tax, a windfall profits tax on the ExxonMobil and the other big oil companies. You support that?
No, what I've been talking about is getting rid of the subsidies.
But that's in effect is an increase in tax. That's an effective increase in tax.
Well, that's right. We don't think they should be getting tax breaks at a time where they're making reference
to
profits.
In 2005, we passed legislation that did actually encourage people to look at these public lands, drill in a non-intrusive way to find the gas and oil that we believe, and the experts in the field believe, we have more unfound reserves in this country of gas and oil than we have known reserves of gas and oil. We passed legislation in the House that would have allowed deep ocean drilling 100 miles off coast where the Chinese and others are drilling right now. And every bill that's been reported out of the House Resources Committee since the new majority took over discouraged that kind of effort going forward. Every single bill minimized the use of those very lands that Chris and I agree, apparently, have resources we ought to be looking at.
But many of the millions that are already open to drilling, and you guys are opposed to getting rid of subsidies for the oil and gas industry and investing those funds instead in renewable energy and energy efficiency, which is
Chris,
the future.
Hold on. Those two arguments don't even go together. If they're open to drilling, getting rid of subsidies for the oil and gas companies to drill in this country has nothing to do with whether you encourage people that are open to drilling.
I'm saying there are already lands that are open to drilling. They're not taking advantage of that.
Every bill the Resources Committee has reported out on this topic has discouraged that policy that we put in place in 2005.
Profits are big incentive.
We got to leave it here, unfortunately, Congressman. But thanks to both of you for joining us. Let's continue this conversation down the road.
You bet.
Thanks.
And coming up, a strong supporter of John McCain questions of Barack Obama's stance on Iran and a lot more. My interview with Senator Joe Lieberman is next. Late Edition continues right after this.